Good morning, folks. Following up on yesterday's explosion on the backside of the Sun, coronagraphs show some elements of the CME to be of tremendous density. That brightest part could read in the hundreds or thousands of protons per cubic centimeter and would definitely have been a concern if it was Earth-facing. Also nice to fully see Venus on the right coming in for conjunction. We had no more significant flaring in the last 24 hours. This is surprising due to the abundance of the sunspots. Up north, we see a developed grouping with positive and negative mixing right in the center. That's a delta spot. Below that on the south, we don't see as good of a mixing example, but beta-gamma polarity for sure, and numerous delta candidates developing. The incoming spots up north show potential with at least a beta polarity, but it's tough to see the whole region at this time. We'll also begin to monitor another incoming on the south. Perhaps the biggest eruption threat on the Earth-facing disk, however, has nothing to do with sunspots. That thin dark line in the center is a billion-ton plasma filament that stretches more than 100,000 miles long. These can be just as dangerous as flares when they erupt. Eyes open there. I'll also note that a period of above-average solar wind density this morning appears to be creating some instability in our magnetosphere. The non-specific solar wind event also threw an uppercut to the electron flux, and she's still trying to recover. The earthquakes have died down a bit in terms of magnitude, but will it last? Maybe for another day or so. The next coronal hole is coming in on the south, shifting near-Earth influence from positive to negative. Dark patch turning in on the south is that coronal hole, and if you can note the loop, it seems to extend upwards towards the equator. That's part of it as well. ISWA shows this incoming coronal hole to be quite powerful at the core, with slightly decreasing force equatorially. Let's also follow up on the California quake swarm, which died down significantly over the last 24 hours. Looking back, we had 37 tremors above 2.5, but more interestingly, looking for all quakes of any magnitude shows more than 1,000 shakes in this location in the last 7 days. Some have said these are harmonic tremors from magma movement. On to another sign of the times. We've probably reported on these new types of clouds half a dozen times since 2011, and while not officially recognized yet, they're becoming so prevalent that nobody can ignore them anymore, including the experts at weather.com. Atmospheric changes are abounding. Rosetta will land its probe on the comet 67P on November 12th. Good luck to the ESA there. A fascinating confirmation that as much as half of the water in our solar system predates the Sun. In our Star Water series, we examine both that which our Sun helps create and that which almost certainly had to be here beforehand. Preplanetary nebulae, proto-system disks. This is a grand confirmation of 1 point from our most popular website series. Now let's get a little angry. They have closed the Oregon GMO wheat case, stating that the unauthorized plants were simply an isolated incident. Whoops. On the same day, they were forced to announce that Montana now has a case of the unapproved GMO wheat growth. Monsanto, go sit in the corner. This was the scene in Tampa Bay yesterday. The storms dumped a lot of rain very quickly, stalling cars and flooding homes. Now the same thing will happen again tonight on the other side of the country, as well as the possibility for severe storms. I really hope you folks out west in these zones take heed of the convergences and check your forecast tonight. Rachel in the East Pacific shouldn't be much of a concern on land as it is fading. Kamuri in the West Pacific is beautiful but still going to miss Japan. Convergence cresting Western Australia and 2 more affecting the far east coast and most of New Zealand. The precipitation zones match perfectly. In Europe, we've got a lot of precipitable water all over the place, but the lows up north put Iceland and Norway under the gun once more. If you missed last night's upload, it is 40 great minutes with Professor Gerald Pollack, The Great Secret of Water, its 4th phase and structured form. Top recommendation, and we'll discuss it more in detail in today's Fly on the Wall episode, along with the atmospheric changes that made those funky looking clouds we saw earlier, plus a lot more. If you aren't yet a member, we've got literally hundreds of hours of content, and it's $3 a month or $20 if you opt for a full year. This supports our research efforts and the daily morning news. We got shots of our star to close at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 4:30 a.m. Mountain Time. Eyes open. No fear. Be safe, everyone.